Hi, Cozy Adventures. So for this Valentine's Day week, Lucy says hi too. This is her heart sweater. So for this Valentine's Day week, I am going to share with you a dozen roses, a dozen rose perfumes. And the first one I want to share with you is, I think this one is going to be a runner-up because I don't actually smell the rose very strongly in it, but it's Poison Girl EDT. I just talked about it with my cotton candy options because it smells pink sugary to me. It smells really similar to pink sugar in that it has a licoricey cotton candy, but also a bright citrusy smell. But it also does have rose, and the rose is candied, and it smells a little bit like, at least like as you wear it. When you first spray it, you get more of the brightness of the citrus, and then as you wear it longer, it smells like, I can imagine Turkish Delight, you know, those soft powdery candies. If it was a rosewater Turkish Delight and an orange blossom Turkish Delight, that's kind of what it smells like. So that is my first runner-up. And I'll say my top fragrance would be Delina, or I'm not doing it in order, actually. I'll just say that I finally tried Delina after hearing about it so much online, watching all of the different other YouTubers talk about perfumes, and it was talked about with such drama, like that it's such a big deal kind of perfume that's really strong and gets so many compliments and people super love it, but it's a lot. And to me, it just smells like a really lovely, like rosewater kind of rose perfume with a little bit of, with some fruitiness at the beginning, adding a little bit of tartness, but it's not like super tart. So that's the rhubarb and the lychee. And I think it's just a lovely, delightful rose, and it's strong in that it lasts a long time, and it projects, but it's not an overpowering, overwhelming perfume to me at all. And then the next one I have is Very Good Girl, which smells a lot like the original Good Girl DNA with some Delina on top of it, some fresh rose and lychee on top of it. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So let's see. Trying to figure out how you could, oh, there we go. We're talking about my dozen rose perfumes that I'm sharing with you for Valentine's Day, and then a few honorable mentions that are not making the list. And I want to show you this Pure Love kombucha flavor because this reminds me of my first honorable mention, which was Poison Girl. It has blood orange, hibiscus, and rose. Poison Girl doesn't have hibiscus, but it generally has this sort of candied, flowered taste that tastes similar to how Poison Girl smells. Like orangey and tart, but also very sweet. So it's a special Valentine's Day flavor. Just wanted to share it with you. And then I have a few more honorable mentions to share with you while I'm on it. One is Finery's Rosalina, which is supposed to be like Delina. And now that I've tried Delina, I don't like Rosalina anymore. There's maybe something similar to the rose and the vanilla and the lychee and Rosalina, but it is so much less subtle. It feels like this blast of rose and of vanilla in a way that, yeah, just feels so unsubtle and cheap comparatively. So I don't think it's bad, and if you love sweet florals, you'd probably still really like it. But now that I've tried Delina, I don't want this anymore, so I'm probably gonna sell it on my Mercari. So that's Finery, but Finery Rosalina. And then this is Very Good Girl Elixir, which also has the rose added to the Good Girl DNA, but it has cherry. And at least when I was trying it compared to a bunch of the rose perfumes I was trying, I really couldn't smell the rose in it. I mostly could smell very kind of candied cherry, and it reminded me more of Sweet by Lolita Lempica than any of the rose perfumes. So I liked it, but it doesn't make sense to put it on my dozen rose list. And then Ralph Lauren Romance is a nice sweet rose water, but it also has that department store perfumey quality that feels kind of dated and overly formal for my taste. But if you like that perfumey quality, then you'd really like it. Hi Cozy Adventures, continuing with my dozen rose perfumes for Valentine's Day week. Today I have three like peppery roses for you. The first one is, let's see, where did I put it? Oh, Kayali's Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper. This is very sweet, a nice strong rose, like a nice strong fresh rose, not like rose water, but like a, you know when roses have, that are sort of like peachy, pinky, bright, and they have like a little bit of a tang to them. It's got a tanginess to it. It's got a strong pink pepper, and it's got a strong sweetness from vanilla and sandalwood. And I really like it. For this kind of fragrance, I like this the most of what I've smelled. And then the next one is Tom Ford's Rose Prick. I don't know if you can see that, but this one is very sexy to me. It has, oh, and also the Kayali also has a saffron note, which I think gives it a sexiness. The Rose Prick is like a savory rose gourmand in a way. It's made with Szechuan pepper and what else does it have? Szechuan pepper, turmeric. So it's almost like a stir-fried rose petals, and then with a little bit of sweet and spicy sauce. I don't know. I really like it, actually. That might not sound good to you, but I really like it. It does have a patchouli note that I don't smell in the beginning, but deeper in the dry down shows up more, and I don't like that as much, but it's not super bothersome. And I can really imagine a sexy couple, one that likes things that lean a little bit more masculine and one that likes things that lean a little more feminine, wearing these two together, and they smell really good, like I have right now. The Tom Ford here and the Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper here. And that smells like one sexy rosy couple. And then the third peppery rose that I have on my list is Atomic Rose by Nishio. And this one is less sweet, really bright rose, and yeah, strong pink pepper, but it does go slightly into the headachy category for me, I think, which I think is because the rose is so bright. But it's a good fragrance, and it's also got lychee, I think, so it has some relation to Delina, but with this more unisex, slightly masculine leaning profile. Speaking of rose perfumes that are a little bit too sort of bright, intense rose for me and can kind of make me feel headachy, there's a lot of rose ouds that are in that category. So I'm going to list a few of them that I've tried for you. And if you do like the really strong, bright, intense rose that's a little less sweet and has some oudiness, then you'll really like these, because there's nothing wrong with these fragrances. I just can't do them because they start being a little headachy for me. One is Badial Oud Amethyst. It's a rose one. It took a while for it to settle and age so that I could really smell it. At first I was like, oh, what's that smell? And now it smells like a nice rose oud, but yeah, it's too bright and intense of a rose for me. So that's a no. And then similarly, let's see, Kayali. Let's see. The Kayali Oudgasm Rose Oud. Is that what it's called? Yeah, it's just called Rose Oud. That one also very similarly, like super bright, intense rose, and it kind of keeps getting more intense throughout the wear. And the Atomic Rose is kind of like that too. It just keeps getting more intense and peppery, and it starts out more subtle, and I really like the subtle start. But yeah, the Kayali Rose Oud I can't do. The Oud Satin Mood and the Oud Silk Mood. I think I only have extrait of that. Both of those are too intense for me. The Oud Satin Mood is like a really, really strong soapy, kind of like masculine leaning soap rose to me. That's too intense for me. And the Oud Silk Mood extrait, I can't remember what it has. Shoot, I should have opened my little perfume journal so I could tell you more. Maybe I can find it right now. It has, I said yucky, stinky wood layer in the mid. So there's like there's a certain kind of smelly, for me, wood or amber chemical note that I really don't like, and it has that. So that's why I can't do that one. And another one that has that, in a way that I don't notice really when I'm wearing, but then when it dies down, that smell is left, is the Montel Arabian's Tonka. So that's another one that is a rose oud that I can't do. It's interesting because the Intense Cafe that I love, and I'll talk about next, has very similar profile as the Arabian's Tonka, but with coffee and all blended really softly and sweetly. Hi, Cozy Adventures. Continuing on with my dozen rose perfumes for Valentine's Day. I left off talking about some sort of honorable mentions of rose perfumes that didn't work for me, including the Montal Arabian's Tonka, which has some sort of ambery or wood note that is scratchy and bothers me when it is in its deep dry down. But that one is very similar to the rose that's in Montel's Intense Cafe, but in this it's all smoothed out, it's softened, it's sweetened, it has like a rose latte kind of encircling anything that might stick out like that. And I just find this so delightful, and it projects well and it wafts around. It's like one of those that's strong because it stays for a long, long time and projects a lot, but it's also soft. Like the texture of it is soft and smooth and sweet. And so this is maybe my favorite of all the ones that I've tried. That's Montel's Intense Cafe. And then related to that, I will do, I'll share another one that's like in my top couple ones is the Roses Vanille by Mancera. You can't really see it here, but that's what this is. And this is one that if I smell it too up close, it gets a little bit like hearing like a horn blast in your face or something. There's something that can feel like a little much up close, but it projects so beautifully. And if you don't like sniff right up on your skin, it's just this beautiful, strong, sweet, vanillic rose. And I like it even for sleeping because it is one of those that makes a beautiful, comforting scent bubble. And I really liked these together, the Intense Cafe and the Roses Vanille, like not sprayed on top of each other, but different parts of me. And that makes this beautiful scent bubble. And then in addition to those, in the Kayali Freedom Musk collection, There is a musk latte that also has rose. And this in a way is kind of like the Intense Cafe, but smoothed out even more and with a lot of sandalwood, but still with this sort of like background of a dreamy rose latte. So I really love that one. And, but not quite as much as the Intense Cafe, which has a little bit more rose and a little bit more sexiness. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So continuing on with my dozen roses for Valentine's Day, and these are a couple more that are in the honorable mentions that didn't make the dozen. One is another Kayali Freedom Musk, and this one is the Freedom Musk Bouquet. And the Freedom Musk Bouquet has rose, but it doesn't stick out as much as rose. It has a very like light version of a department store sweet rose. Probably aldehydes in it. I don't know if it lists that, but yeah, it has a little bit of that vintagey perfume smell going on. And I think that's what keeps me from being able to fully enjoy that. But as you wear it, it gets more and more sweet and kind of vanilla-y. And I remember thinking in the deep dry down that it had a little bit of 90s vanilla. It reminded me of this musky, perfumey vanilla that was prevalent in the 90s. And then I have another musk that a lot of people love that I've tried, and I gave a good try, and I will keep trying with it to see. And I'm also curious to see if my partner or other people would smell it differently on me. And that is Narciso Rodriguez Musk Noir Rose. I have a nice decant of it. And for me, there's something indolic in it. Like I smell, and I've read other people say that about the original Musk Noir, but not as much about the Musk Noir Rose. But yeah, I smell something that smells kind of like urine-ish in the beginning, and it feels like a little bit too strong in the beginning. And then when it gets really dried down, it's such a different fragrance. It's so sweet and soft. So I'm really curious, and the kind of rose is different than any of the roses we've talked about so far. It smells more like a kind of dying, drying rose, like a very dark rose that has is very sweet, but also kind of decaying. Maybe that's why I have a hard time with it, because when things smell like they're starting to decay, like my nervous system is like, ew, it's rotting. But there is something sexy about it, and I could imagine it becoming kind of addictive and other people smelling it differently on you. So I'm very curious to keep trying this one, but for now, it's not going to be on my dozen roses list. Cozy Adventures. Continuing on with my dozen rose perfumes for Valentine's Day. I have a couple of rose ouds that do really work for me. One of them that I really am loving and is so expensive. So I think I bought another small sample of it already so that I don't feel so precious with the first small sample I have. And also the first small sample I have, the sprayer won't work, of course, in this very expensive perfume. But this is Oud Satin Mood Extrait by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, the same guy that made Baccarat Rouge. And this one, the regular Oud Satin Mood, not the extrait, the regular Oud Satin Mood to me smells like a really intense soapy smell that I don't like very much. And then this one, it's like whatever smell is in that is totally coated in a candied sweetness. So there's a strong oud and a strong rose, but it's all coated in sweet candied deliciousness. So I really love this one. This is the queen of all the rose ouds for me so far. Not that I've smelled a ton of them, but this makes it like actually so delicious and sexy and palatable for me. And then the other one, and I realize like neither of these are, I would like to try a Middle Eastern rose oud that's not cheap, because I have such a bad reaction to Latafa and some of the other houses that make inexpensive perfumes because of whatever chemicals are in it. I get sore throats immediately and allergic. So like I don't want to like be so attached to Europeanized versions of like a Middle Eastern scent profile, if you know what I mean. But anyway, the two that I have right here, the other one is Lancome's Oud Bouquet. And this one is sort of clunky for me. It definitely is not like this like delicious, addictive feeling that I get from this other one. It kind of clunks on with like a strong oud, like a sort of rubbery oud, and then it clunks on a strong rose, and then it switches into like a really, really strong vanilla. And it comes a little, like it's a little smoother in the transition than those, and you smell all of the elements a little bit in each phase, but it's a little clunky for me. But the vanilla it turns into is amazing. Hey, Cozy Adventures. So my last two rose fragrances for Valentine's Day are Replica, Maison Margiela's Replica On a Date, and this body mist, which is from Memoir, Candlelit Evening, and they go together really well. They also have stuff in common, I would say, with Poison Girl, the first rose perfume I was talking about, in that they have this like sweet candied rose element, or like this one does. This one kind of feels like it's a baby between On a Date and the Poison Girl in a way. So On a Date by Replica kind of smells like wine and roses. It smells like candlelight somehow, and like not like a ton of rose, like a rose on a table that you're having dinner at, and then a winey smell like I think that there's plum in it, but it comes off more like a grape, and it's kind of subtle and well blended for me. So I really like that. It smells like what it says it does. It really evokes a feeling of a candlelit dinner date with some wine. So I really enjoy that one. And then this body spray, Candlelit Evening, is actually kind of stronger than the perfume. It is sweeter and brighter rose and just sort of a stronger experience. And it lasts for a few hours, I think, and then it fades away. So the other one lasts longer because it's a perfume, but this one is stronger for most of its wear. And this one is also one that's just like evokes I mean, it's called Candlelit Evening. It evokes having wine or champagne, and this one's more like a dozen roses and pink champagne and yeah, like a stronger version of these different elements. So that ties up my dozen roses. Maybe I'll do one more video kind of speeding through the ones that are on the list without including the honorable mentions, so you can kind of quickly access it. But happy Valentine's Day. I'll be going into some chocolate fragrances as well. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So for Valentine's Day, I'm going to share a few chocolate fragrances that I haven't shared before with you that are new to me. And one of them is Montel's Chocolate Greedy. One is the spray perfume version of Choco Musk. And one is Diesel Loverdose Red Kiss, I think it's called. Let me double check. Yes, Red Kiss. And actually there's one more. Lust Oud Delice by Chris Collins. I'll start with that one. This one is a dark chocolate, a dark fruity chocolate oud. I go back and forth to it smelling really good and to it smelling kind of overwhelming. It also has cypriol, which is a kind of dark, intense smell. But I know some people really feel like they're smelling a straight gourmand, and to me, it's definitely a lot more oudy and dark than normally I would think of a gourmand, but it is a beautiful, dark, fruity chocolate. That's Lust Oud Delice by Chris Collins. And then Diesel Loverdose Red Kiss. This is discontinued, so I don't know if you're gonna find it, but it reminds me a lot of, there's like a lot of fragrances that seem to have come up around the same time as Good Girl that have just a ton of different notes and are orange blossom heavy and are blended in a way that I can't pick out the individual notes very well. So this has chocolate in it, and I can sometimes smell the chocolate, but overwhelmingly I smell the orange blossom. And it's just a nice, strong, designer, sweet, orange blossomy fragrance for me with a little bit whiffs of chocolate. And then Choco Musk in the spray perfume. This has more cocoa powder, like hot chocolate, instant hot chocolate powder smell to me than the roll-on perfume. So I really like it. It's got that doll head vanilla cocoa thing going on. And then my number one new chocolate fragrance, I got a little sample of it and immediately was like, oh, I need a bottle of this. This is amazing. For me, it's kind of like the chocolate version of Bianco Latte in that it really creates a beautiful scent bubble that wafts all around and it's very decidedly chocolatey, you know, perfect for Valentine's Day. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So for Valentine's Day, I thought I would highlight a couple of fragrances for if you are going through a breakup. And so I got the body spray of the original Thank You Next, and I got a hand-me-down from someone on Mercari, the Thank You Next 2.0 perfume, and they are very interesting fragrances. The Thank You Next, I'm sorry to tell you, smells like vinegary pickles. But you know what? Maybe when you're kind of pissed off and just ready to say thank you next, you need to be a little vinegary. Yeah, when you first spray it or smell it, it really does smell like dill pickles. But once it starts drying down, I think that dill pickly smell is coming from like a coconut water kind of smell. Yeah, you know how coconut water has like almost a little bit of saltiness? Wow, it's really hard to describe other than that. It's got coconut water, it's supposed to smell like macarons, which I have to use my imagination to smell. But that is the original. And then the 2.0 smells more like fun fruity, a little bit like fruity shampoo, but sweeter than a lot of the fruity shampoo kind of perfumes. And I imagine that this is the Thank You Next that is not the vinegary kind, but the like I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair kind. So you feel like young and clean and sweet with this perfume, like you're kind of carefree and moving on. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So I'm finishing my Valentine's Day exploration with some Kilian Orange Blossom fragrances. One is called Can't Stop Loving You, and it smells so springtimey to me. It smells intoxicating, honeyed, birds and bees, pollinating, outdoors, floral, sweet, animalic. So that's Can't Stop Loving You. And then Love Don't Be Shy. So this one I had smelled dupes of and didn't like. It just felt like an overdose of orange blossom, like it was just too much. And then I actually smelled the Killian version and I was like, oh, now I understand. Like there's something about the way it's done that it just doesn't feel like too much. It feels like intoxicating and amazing. Especially if you only spray it like once. I feel like I sprayed it on my chest earlier today. I think if you spray too many times, it could definitely get to be too much. But yeah, it didn't give me the same sort of overdose of orange blossom that felt cloying to me in the dupes of it. So I now understand Love Don't Be Shy. I didn't think I did, but I do. It's a perfect name for it because it's like, it feels very outgoing. It feels like this burst of like open-heartedness and playfulness and sweetness. And then I also have Love Don't Be Shy. Oh, and this song is called Never Too Much because that's what I'm saying about Love Don't Be Shy, that it's not too much. And it's also one of my favorite love songs. And so I have also Love Don't Be Shy Fresh. And this one is what it sounds like. It's like a fresher, lighter, more watery version of the same Orange Blossom and Love Don't Be Shy. And it also has some bubblegummy marshmallowy scent and a little bit of caramel grounding it. Or no, it doesn't have the caramel. I think Love Don't Be Shy dries down into something caramely, but this one doesn't. And this one gave me like a slightly headachy feeling from the sweetness mixed with a little bit of soapiness, and that can be hard for me, but I can imagine that this is better in the spring and summer than the original if you don't want like to be hit by so much thick sweetness. Happy Valentine's Day. I got myself a couple of Valentine's Day gifts from Sephora, and one is two little minis from Love Shack Fancy, and one is from Forever Mood, two little minis. And I've had one of the Love Shack Fancy, the Secret Crush, I have a sample of, but otherwise I haven't smelled any of these before. So let's do the Love Shack Fancy first, since I already know one of them. The Secret Crush is a vanilla. It reminded me of Empire Victor, but without the lemon, but is very pretty princess vanilla, according to me. And Empire Victor is like one of my favorite Middle Eastern ones that I tried, that I would definitely have a full bottle of if I didn't have allergies to cod liege, who makes it, and so many other yummy fragrances. It's a dabber. And I got these on some sort of deal and got like extra points and whatever. There were reasons that convinced me to buy some this week. Besides that, it is fun. So that is the one I already know, Secret Crush. And I'm trying to get it out of this thing. Okay, this one is Forever in Love. Aw, it's probably rosy. Let's see, I don't have the notes looked up right now. Fruity and fresh. Forever in Love. Okay. I feel like everything that I'm getting lately is pear. Huh, it doesn't list fruit. So is it like lemon and orange blossoms and something green? Oh, it is pear. Green pear is the top note. And middle note is gardenia, which gives it a little bit of a creaminess to the floral. And the base note is cedarwood, which grounds it and makes it not gross. Well, I'm surprised. I didn't really expect to like that one, but I do. And next in my Valentine's Day gifts to myself from Sephora, I have these Forever Mood minis. And trying to open them. Aw, it says self-care isn't selfish. I find opening packages on camera stressful. Okay, I got it. Open the top. Okay, and these just came right out really easily. All right, so let me do I Am Her first. She Was Here, I think I'm like probably kind of guaranteed to like, but I don't know about this one. I Am Her. This one has oud. I think it says it's red velvet, like a cake with oud. And does this one have pear too? I Am Her. And yep, pear. Pear, oud, and velvet or red velvet. All right, that's another nice pear. Now I have like a bunch of pear fragrances. I just saw that there were free samples also that came from Sephora, and I saw that a few of them are pear, so it's going to be a pear spring. And then She Was Here. This is one I've been curious about for a while. If I remember, I think it might have pistachio in it. Immediately it just smells sweet. I'm not smelling. Ooh, there's like almost a minty. Let's see what that actually is. She Was Here. Huh. The top note is rose, but it doesn't really smell rosy to me. How interesting. It's rose and pistachio and milk. Oh no, the top notes are pomegranate and elemi. Okay. Wow. That's a really interesting smell and I like it. It's very, very sweet. But yeah, pomegranate isn't in things very much, and it feels like a magenta colored fragrance. Whatever that means. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So when I was doing my Valentine Day week fragrances and looking for my favorite chocolate fragrances, I found a bunch of them that, or not a bunch of them, but a handful of them that have this chocolatey patchouli, or a couple of them are like more like a coffee patchouli, but that also has a little chocolatey thing going on. And so it's like a new DNA for me to kind of understand and know that I don't really like it, but there's some that where it's more subtle and blended in that I kind of like, and then there's some that I think are super gross I don't like. So I'll start by just sharing that I think the mother of this DNA is Angel by Mugler, and I've already talked about this before, but it has a ton of notes, but really what's important is that it was the first, or trying to be one of the first sort of edible gourmandy smelling perfumes, but it's super strong patchouli. And the patchouli, it's like a chocolatey patchouli, and the patchouli is not only chocolatey, but it's dirty to me. And it smells like outside dirty, but it also smells like kind of dirty person, human, like being in someone's dorm room, kind of stinky too, or sex like. So in the very deep dry down of that one, it gets into like a more blended chocolatey cookie patchouli almost, but it takes a long time to get there, and there's a lot of overwhelming stuff along the way, including just this super intense patchouli. So that's Angel. The other couple ones that I really didn't like, Sweet Tooth, the caramel dream, has that DNA in it, and the patchouli is so strong, and it just gets, as it dries down, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger on my skin, and I really didn't like that. And it also just smells like stinky patchouli for me. And then I don't have it with me, but the Brown Girl Jane, is that what it's called? Brown Girl Jane, I think so. That one is, hold on, Hi Cozy Adventures. So continuing on talking about chocolatey and or sweet patchouli fragrances that I have sniffed lately. And so we talked about Angel, which is sort of the DNA that I'm noticing in these other fragrances. And then Sweet Tooth Caramel Dream, that has a patchouli that gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And to my nose and on my skin, it's kind of a stinky patchouli. And then Brown Girl Jane Chalet, I hadn't heard anyone talk about this, but it has a really strong patchouli note that also has that kind of dirty, angel-y patchouli that I don't like. So this I'll be passing down to someone on my Mercari. And then a couple of them that I don't hate, that still have, they smell the most like the Angel once it's like really dried down and it's the most blended and sweet, like cookies. So one of them is Work From Home by Memoir, and this is like a coffee patchouli, like a sweet cookies and coffee, and not a strong coffee, a sweet coffee. It's coffee that smells more like chocolate-ish in a way, just sweet. And then the other one that I noticed was Replica's Bubble Bath. When you first spray this, it's pretty soapy, but as it dries down, the sweetness from this one is coconut. And yeah, it has the same sort of DNA of like a patchouli mixed with a sweetness, but with this added soapiness. But it's very blended, and the patchouli doesn't stick out in the way that it does in the ones that I don't like. So this has been an interesting thing to learn about myself, and now I can kind of pick up the same sort of fragrance patterns, that DNA that reminds me of Angel in other fragrances, and probably a lot of chocolatey fragrances have that. So I will keep my eye out for that. And also this one, the Loverdose Kiss, Bread Kiss. This one also has a patchouli that sticks out a little to me, but otherwise it doesn't smell the same, bless me, as these others. It doesn't have that angel-y smell. It's got a stronger, like orange blossom, that makes it smell like a very different DNA, but this also is a little too patchouli for me. Hi Cozy Adventures, finishing up on my Valentine's Day week videos. I am going to do the awards for my favorites. So going through all the rose and chocolate fragrances, I have a top 4 to award Best of Valentine's Day to. And they're not in order, but number 1, the top chocolate one is Chocolate Greedy by Montal. This is such a beautiful projection, like wafting all around you, sweet but kind of dark chocolate. And I was like, as soon as I smelled this, I was like, oh, finally, like a really good chocolate. So that's this one. I had a small sample of it and quickly started looking for a good hand-me-down from Mercari. So this is, I think, not a full bottle, but close to it, that I got on Mercari. And then these I all got more than I started with too, I think. Yeah. So Delina, I get it now. I think it is just super lovely and delicious. Sweet rose water, sweet and tart rose water rose, like fresh sweet tart. It's really nice. It doesn't have any, it's very smooth to me. It doesn't have anything that like sticks out and is scratchy or too acidic and headachy. And it also has a lovely like wafting around you kind of projection, and I really like it. So it's very expensive, so I bought more of it, but it was just like another small sample of it. That way at least I can go through one sample with abandon and know that I have a little bit left. And then Roses Vanille by Mancera. That is, let's see, is my other one? My other one's another Montal. Yeah, so this one's famous and well loved too. It is exactly what it says it is. It's rose and vanilla, and it's very strong and it has a great projection. When you sniff right up close, it can be a little bit like hearing a French horn in your ear or something. It's a little bit loud, the rose, but really if you back off just a few inches, it just smells amazing, and I even like to sleep in it. And this one I got like a couple more little samples, and I'll probably get one of these soon of it. And then this one is Montal's Intense Cafe, and it is delicious.